What's up, everyone? Can everyone hear me or not? I gotta log back into it. Yeah, today was a really whack day. It's kind of expected because I think there were some decent setups yesterday. But let me just pull up TD right now. It's also because my college's Wi-Fi crashed, so I'm on my friend's hotspot because I don't have a hotspot in my data plan, so that's tough. But I'll wait for like a minute or two if people want to join. Hit the lock button so it saves your username. Where's the lock button? Um, okay, I guess I'll just get started. If more people want to join, they can. Let me go to execution. Alright, does anybody have any questions, first of all, that they want me to... Does anybody have any... Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that later. Okay, does anybody have any questions that they want me to go over? Oh, I think I should. I can go over the Amazon trade I took. I also took BBIG. So if anybody wants me to answer questions first, I'll go ahead and do that. I'm still very bad at this live stream stuff. Okay. When did I get into Amazon? Was it at the key resistance level? Okay, yeah. So I'll talk about what I saw on Amazon. As always, I'm gonna go to a blank chart first. So I'll go ahead and pull up a blank chart on Amazon. Drawing set. Amazon blank chart. So if you start from a higher time frame, as always, I'm just gonna draw out the major zones I saw. So this right here was daily supply. Right, so all I'm doing is I'm just going through my time frames. We also have 3-hour supply, but it's inside of daily supply. So like usual, I'm just shifting through the time frames, looking for strong areas of supply and demand. Did I really not have that many? 90, but a 1 hour. We do have 1 hour demand right here, which we are bouncing from. We also had this 30-minute supply. I think it formed from yesterday, but it was a very weak zone, and that's why I ignored it. Let me see. There's an echo. I don't know if you can hear it. Shit. Let me try to fast forward. Give me a second. Is there an echo right now? I think it should be updated. Let me know if there's still an echo. If somebody in the chat can just let me know if there's an echo or not. That's strange. There shouldn't be an echo. Okay, sounds good. All right. Okay, anyways, back to Amazon. Right now, all I'm doing is I'm just drawing out the zones. If you joined a little bit late, all I'm doing right now is I'm just drawing out my areas of supply and demand. So we had 1 hour right here. We had this, but it was invalid. So honestly, there weren't too many zones for Amazon. I was okay with that. So after I draw my zones, what's the next thing I do? I identify my main areas of interest, so like key levels. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna link my laptop to my monitor. I took it out for some reason. Sorry if I'm all over the place. It's kind of hard adjusting with this new Wi-Fi, and also my other laptop, I use my Mac. It stopped working, so I had to download Trader Workstation on this laptop. So I was running both TD and TWS on my laptop, and it didn't go too well. All right, anyways, back to Amazon. So as I said, I just drew out my supply and my demand zones. Next thing I do is I go to a 1 hour time frame and I identify some key areas or some areas of interest. So I think I posted this yesterday in the main chat as well. The area of interest that I was watching was this 3525 level. And I'll show you why this level was so key. Okay, so the reason why I was very, very interested in the 3525 level is if you go back in the past, you can see that this level acted as resistance multiple times. So we've had 1, 2, 3 touches. Then we fast forward all of last week. We try to break this level, 4, 5, 6. And then finally we have 7, 8, 9. So you can see that we have 9 touches at this 3525 level. So my plan at this point is, knowing Amazon is strong on a higher time frame. You can see that Amazon has been on this massive rally. It has this gap to fill. Knowing that we have areas to run higher, my plan is simply just to take a break of the 3525 level. Honestly, just targeting the gap fill. So my final target is right here. I'll go ahead and label this as final. So now that I have my area of entry and my final target, all that's left to do is pull the trigger and execute the trade. So I'm going to go ahead and go to video. So I can show you the price action of SPY in Qs when I entered Amazon. Thank you. That was my same take on it, same entry. Would you take it at 1 hour demand? I'm not sure if I had 1 hour demand on Amazon. Let me check. Oh, you mean the 1 hour demand which forms? If you were referring to this demand zone, if you were referring to this demand zone, then yeah, I guess this would be a good entry. But as I stated before, I'm more of a breakout trader, so I'm more interested in breakout plays. So going back to the 3525 level, there's a couple of lessons to learn from this trade. I'm going to pull up the price action of SPY and the price action of Qs. This green box here is supply. I just got lazy to change the color. But I want everybody to take away a couple of points from this. Look at the first 4 candles of Amazon. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the 4th candle of Amazon, Amazon closed above its high with an upper wick. What did Q do in the first 4 candles? SPY do in the first 4 candles? 1, 2, 3, 4. SPY failed to get above its high. And what did Qs do in the first four candles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Qs also failed to get above its highs. So when a stock is breaking its high of day, well, both SPY and Qs are not breaking its high of day, the stock has relative strength. So you can clearly see that while Amazon broke its high and the next candle also broke the high and continued higher, Amazon had relative strength while SPY and Qs were showing weakness because they cannot get above their highs. So that's the first thing I saw from Amazon. The second thing I saw was us bouncing from this trend line that I had. This trend line dates back on the daily time frame. You can see it right here. Multiple touches. So I just kept this trend line here to see if it would act as support. And what did Amazon do? Instead of bouncing from demand, we came back, tested this this prior area of resistance and started moving higher. So now, knowing that, I realized two things. One, Amazon has relative strength. Two, Amazon bounced from this lower trend line. Okay, so now we go up to the exact play. I entered right here at 9:55. So I anticipated it very, very slightly. So when I entered here, at one point I was down $200, but I had a clear plan. I had a clear stop in mind. So for those who are curious about my stop would have been a 5-minute candle fail above this level. So yes, for the first 2 or 3 minutes, we did dip below this level. However, buyers immediately stepped back in and we eventually closed above this level. So this is why I will always wait for a 5-minute candle close. Because I don't want to get faked out. Sometimes plays require a little bit of time and patience, so it's always important to be patient and just let the trade work out. So anyways, we did dip below. I was down 200, $300 at one point. However, we closed above, and on this next candle, as we broke 3530, I took my first contract off. So I entered 2 contracts of Amazon at a price of 6. I took one off at 7, just to protect myself. Then Amazon had this nice push up. Contracts were trading at 9.5 at one period of time. I was up well over what I had originally planned to risk. However, if you go to a 15-minute time frame, can't really see it properly, but I was anticipating that we would have a 15-minute RB&R. So yes, I was up a lot of money at one point. However, my final target was, I didn't mark it, but it was 3570, right? So I had one contract left. I protected myself on the first contract. So my plan was to sell my next contract at my take profit area. However, we never hit that take profit area. We reversed. So, I held through all this consolidation. I held through these 2 red candles. And one of my rules is if I am in profit, if I take my first scale out in profit, the next contract will always be break even. So as we approached break even on the second contract, I think I sold here at 5.8, so for a $20 loss. So overall, I netted $76 on this trade after commissions. So that's the target, 3570. I gave you the place of entry. I gave you the entire trade breakdown, confirmations. I talked about how Amazon had relative strength, bounced from this lower trend line, and also I saw an increase in volume as well. Let me go ahead and mark that up here. Each volume candle was increasing towards the level, which was added confirmation. Okay, so that was the entire Amazon trade. Do I always use 1 hours for areas of interest? Yeah, I will 90% of the time use 1 hours to find my key levels. Does anyone have any other questions about the Amazon trade? I think my Wi-Fi is just really, really slow, or the hotspot, because I can't even log on to Discord and see messages. Oh, I got a couple of messages. Okay, anyways, back to what is the utility of using SPY and Qs and analyzing the trade? Okay, that's a good question. So, I really want SPY and Qs to align with my trade. You know, SPY and Qs are weak. I most likely will not take the trade. In this case, I still took Amazon for a couple of reasons. The first reason being, Qs had this area of support here. So while Qs was weak, we definitely had this area of support which we held on this fourth candle, which gave me added confirmation. And then for SPY, you know, yes, SPY was choppy, but at the time it was making higher lows, so I was anticipating a bigger move. Did ES and NQ action guide you to get out? Yes, it did. So at 10:15, 10. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Is this going to be recorded? Yep, it's recorded, and then I'll put the link on my YouTube channel and in the main chat. Somebody asked, do you just want me to go over the Q's action today? I can go ahead and do that if you want me to. So actually, I'll go ahead and do that. There's a lot of good lessons from Q's today. You can go ahead and turn on futures. Yeah, I'm going over the Q's action now. So I know Carmine took a position short. Carmine is a very good contextual trader. I have a different trading style from him, so personally I did not feel comfortable playing puts. But what we saw from Q's is we formed 90-minute supply in pre-market. So the reason why I was comfortable taking trades long despite there being supply here was because the supply zone was used. So if the supply zone was fresh, most likely I would have not taken Amazon, but because the supply zone was used, I was anticipating a strong rally through the supply zone. However, the best read I can get from Q's is, so Q's had an aggressive 5-minute candle sell-off while Amazon held value, and then Q's started pushing up. It started aggressively, or not aggressively, but it did start moving higher. So at this point, there were two possible scenarios. One, Q's could break the high because the supply zone was used. It would break the supply zone and have a nice rally towards the upside. However, if Q's failed to get above the high and put a lower high in, then there was a very good chance that Q's could sell off. And the second scenario in this case hit. Q's put in a lower high, and then as soon as we reached the low, closed below the low with good volume, there was a very good chance that Q's had a chance to move lower. And when I saw this candle right here at 10:25, when I saw aggressive volume come in, when I saw us close below the low, you know, low of day and high of day tend to have a lot of fake outs. But in this case, we aggressively closed below the low with good volume. At this point, when I saw how weak Q's was, I just decided to call it a day, and I closed my laptops. And I basically ended the trading day. So that's kind of how I use SPY and Q's to judge price action. Anyone have any other questions? And Dylan posted this as well. He said 15,600 was a major level on Q's. If we breached and held below that level, there was a good chance that the market could continue lower. And you have to think about it, you know, if I just go to a higher time frame on Q's, you know, Q's is pretty extended. It is hanging out near the all-time highs. So a pullback and a move lower on Q's will be completely healthy, you know. As I say, the market will always move from periods of balance to imbalance and from periods of imbalance to balance. So if Q's pushes up, it's going to need to pull back slightly before another move higher. And then for another move through all-time highs, Q's will need to pull back before another move higher. Same thing for ES. I'm pretty sure the action for SPY was pretty much the same. Let me go and pull this up. So again, SPY's formed 90-minute supply here, tested in pre-market, so it was used. Tried getting above the high, but had a high of day fail inside of supply. So as soon as I saw us, you know, upper wick hit supply, failed to close strong inside of it, there was a good chance that we would sell off. And you have to think about it this way as well. Qs is already weaker than SPY, so if Q starts selling off, then it's going to drag SPY down with it. So even though SPY was stronger than Qs at one point, when Q started selling off and breached 15,600, SPY had a very, very good chance of doing the same thing. Are your areas of interest more short term? Do you find support? Okay, that's a good question. So I like to find support and resistance on 1 hour time frames, and they're not really short term. They're longer term levels. I'll give you an example for Amazon. So this support and resistance level dated back, so what is that? May. So it started from May, acting as resistance here, acting as resistance here. Zoom in, acting as resistance again. So I like to find my levels on a 1 hour time frame with extended hours off, and they are not short term, they're more longer term. These are all good questions. Asking questions is always a good thing. It's how everybody learns. If nobody has any other questions, I took another trade on BBIG, which I can also go over. This is not a name I usually play. Are NQ and ES equal in terms of the value of the signal figure? Honestly, yes, but I kind of have a bias towards Qs because if I just run through my watch list, you can see that Tesla shows Qs, Shop shows SPY, but Roku shows Qs, Facebook, Apple. So most of the tech stocks I trade shows Qs. So I do give a little bit more importance to Qs than SPY, but I definitely want to make sure both of them are aligning up. But yeah, I slightly favor Qs over SPY just because, my style is to trade large cap tech stocks. So, tech is NASDAQ. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over the BBIG trade I took. I also started scaling up. Now, I was comfortable with the position size I was previously playing, so I'm now sizing up by like 1 or 2 more contracts. Okay, but this was the BBIG play. It's not a name I typically trade. The reason why I had it on watch was because it had gapped up significantly. It gapped up, like 15 to 20% in pre-market. On top of that, there was some news that BBIG should be valued a lot higher, and finally there was high option interest in this name. So I also saw volume in pre-market as well, which is very, very rare. So all 3 of those facts aligning up, I was now looking at a play on BBIG. So just because a stock gaps up on good news does not always mean there's going to be a play on it. So the first thing I was doing is trying to find some important areas of support and resistance. So my initial thought process was, okay, let me see if I can find any levels with extended hours off. I personally could not find any levels. I mean, you have to ignore today's action. All I had was all-time highs around 11.9. So then what I did is I just turned on pre-market data, and I found this very, very nice looking trend line right here. I think it was better on like a 5-minute. Zoom out actually, go to like a 30-minute. So basically, we had this trend line here with 3 touches, 1, 2, and then right before market open, we had a 3rd touch. So this validated this trend line which formed in pre-market. So now my plan is to take a break of this trend line because you have to think about your competition. Where is retail traders going to enter? Retail is going to enter above all-time highs at 11.9. So I want to get in before. I want to sell my positions to retail traders. Hence, I will, Hence, I will try to get in before them. So my plan was just to enter on this breakout and then sell to retail. And I was expecting a much, much bigger move. However, I did not get that. So if I go down to a 5-minute time frame, no, I do not use my zones during pre-market for the equities. So BBIG just had a nice move. Okay, but for the equities I trade, like Tesla, Shop, Roku, even BBIG and these other meme stocks, I do not have zones in pre-market because there's no liquidity in pre-market. However, I do have zones for pre-market on SPY and Qs because there is liquidity for SPY and Qs. Okay, if I zoom in now, this is my BBIG play. I entered as soon as we broke this trend line, we dipped and then we immediately got bought back up. At this point, we had this huge move through all-time highs. I played 5 contracts at I believe 1.75. I played 5 contracts. As soon as we spiked here, I sold 2 of these contracts at a premium price of 2.15. So honestly, I was expecting moves to like 4 and 5 on the contracts. However, that did not happen. And as soon as we moved to 2.15, I saw a huge seller sitting on the ask. As soon as his orders got filled, BBIG immediately tanked, and as soon as the candle went from green to red right here, I took a loss on the last 3 contracts. So I entered 5 at. This is kind of hard to see. Let me change the color to blue. So I entered 5 contracts at 1.75. I took off 2 at 2.15, and then I sold the remaining 3 for a loss at 1.5. So overall, I lost a total of $4 on this play, including commissions. So you just have to think about that for a moment. I made I didn't make too much on Amazon. I made about 100. Yesterday, I think I made like 760 on Tesla. I made a couple 700 on Netflix. So for me to take a $4 loss on BBIG is just good risk management from my end. I understand that BBIG had this upper wick and failed, and I had no hesitation in exiting my position because I accepted that my thesis was now invalid and I can just get out. And a lot of people will tend to bag hold, but if you're wrong, you can always exit and re-enter if it sets up again. So that's a concept a lot of newer traders fail to understand. If you are wrong on a trade, get out, and if it sets up again, then you can re-enter. Do I use level 2? Yeah, so overall, I took a $4 loss on this play, including commissions. So it was just good risk management from my end. Do I use level 2? So in terms of confirmations of entering, no, I do not. However, I will use level 2 just to see if there's any big sellers or buyers stacked. So in this case, I saw a huge seller stacked here, and it gave me validation to exit my play. My friend said 305 Microsoft. Not yet. Anyone have any other questions? I'm probably gonna wrap up this live stream soon. I know it's a little bit shorter one, but I just wanted to go over Amazon mainly. I could also make a live stream separately on psychology. If people want, I can go over a lot of psychological tips right now. If people want to see me chart, I can go do that. I'm very, very seriously considering live trading now. I talked with a couple of friends. Um, Hopefully, I should be live trading starting from next week. If not next week, then maybe next week. I still have to, make sure no Wi-Fi issues happen because I definitely don't want my trading to be messed up when I live trade. Wow, I'm just going through charts right now. Netflix had a nice push up. Let's see if I got any messages here. Or honestly, before I live trade, what I may do is I may just trade live without talking, and then I might just voice over if people want me to do that. Does anybody have any other questions or topics they want me to go over? Q now between two major. Okay, let's see, what is it? Psychology videos would be great. Okay, I can go over a couple of psychological tips right now. Um, so probably the biggest psychological tip which has helped my trading is um, I have this written on a piece of paper and I have it glued to my wall. It's you do not need to take every single setup. How do you recommend? Okay, I'll answer this. How do you recommend scaling up in contract size? That is a very, very good question. In my opinion, if you are so the way I do position sizes is I'll typically go in with around 20 to 30% of my account in a trade, and yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll probably trade without talking. I trade with a friend, honestly, so um, I could I can just trade and then voice over afterwards. How do I recommend scaling up in contract size? So I will typically enter 20 to 30% of my account, and then I will risk about 10% of that position. That's just an approximate, it doesn't happen every time. You can risk a little bit more, risk a little bit less, but I will never risk more than like 4 to 5% of my account during a trade. So now I the way I recommend scaling up in contract size is I personally believe you should play a set equity position instead of a set contract size. For example, say I want to trade two Tesla contracts at a price of 10, which is about a 2K position size. I wouldn't want to play two contracts on Apple, which are worth $1. I'd much rather play like 20 contracts of Apple, just so the position sizing is the same. And once you are profitable, if you're trading consistently with no emotions, you're making rational decisions for a month, then you should scale up maybe one or two contracts. Can you talk about what you were thinking but don't talk to us a lot? Do you mean in the live videos, which I'm planning to make? I've seen a couple of other YouTubers do that. What he used to do is, his name's Matt Diamond. He's a scalper. He trades on the 1 minute. What he did is he would record videos of him trading live, and then he would go over and voice over. So I think that's actually a really good idea. Don't really know how to edit videos, but I will definitely get into that if people are interested. Okay, now I can go ahead and just talk about just some market context, SPY and Qs. So the way I personally see the market right now is, do you journal? If so, do you include the I can go ahead. I can actually go over my journal right now if you want. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can pull up my journal. Okay, I was quickly going over something for SPY and Qs. SPY and Qs are clearly making higher lows on the daily. So I say this in every live stream. I'm only interested in playing calls. However, the market is not going to be strong every day. We're not always going to have huge bullish action. So when the market is weak on a day like this, there's a very, very low chance that I'm going to play a long setup because, the market, the equities I play are going to correlate with SPY and Qs. So SPY and Qs are weak. Ultimately, that means that the equities are going to be weak and there's not going to be a setup. So on days where the market is in an uptrend on the daily time frame, but the market is weak intraday, I simply walk away. I know there's no reason to force setups right now. None of my setups are going to hit. It's best to just walk away. Do you journal? Yeah. So my physical like written notes for my journal, I do it on OneNote. It's just Microsoft's free, or it's just Microsoft's platform. So I use OneNote to journal, and then I'll use this website called TradeInsights.com to journal, not to journal my trades, to see like the statistics of my trades. So let me see if I can go to my journal and see if I can show you some of like my weekly stats or something like that. Yeah, just give me loading that up. I'm having trouble holding positions. Do you have any tips on holding with conviction? Yeah, so as D Reeves said, size down. If you are making emotional decisions based off of the size you are playing, then in simple words, you're playing too large of size. So if you are going with 70 to 80% of your account in a trade, then yes, you're gonna make irrational decisions. So the best way to combat that is just to size down. Because when you play with such small size, it honestly doesn't matter if you win or you lose psychology wise. Your brain is going to be thinking, oh, if I lose or win on this, nothing's going to happen to my account. So that's why I always recommend sizing down and also playing more selective too. So let me go back to the questions. Playing, yeah, I said playing smaller size. Um, I just lost my train of thought, my bad. But I was loading up the journal, so I can show you the stats for September at least. Yeah, just give me a minute. Calendar view. Honestly, I don't mind going through August and September. Okay. The reason I'm sharing this with you guys is just to show you that you don't need to win every single day. Okay, can you guys see the journal or not? Or is it still linked on the chat? Or is it still linked on the graphs? Okay, I think it's here. Does everybody see the journal? Okay, so these were my trades from August. August was a very, very tough month. It was a tough month for several traders. I know Dylan did very good, but a lot of the big YouTubers as well ended the month red. So if you ended August green following a systematic plan, then that means that you traded extremely well. Because August was a tough month, and some months are going to be a lot better than others. So overall in August, it was a tough month for me. I ended up netting around $1,185 after commissions, which honestly for me it's not a lot. I had much bigger expectations and I did make a lot of mistakes. But the main thing from here is I had almost as many red days as I had green days, but my red days were super small. You know, I lost $45, lost $27. Occasionally I lost 100, 200, or 150, but my losers were very, very small. $3, $94. Now if we go on to the winning side of things, you'll see it's definitely not like that. You know, I made 400 Thursday, made 258, 600 on one day, 280. So the main reason I'm showing you guys this is just to understand that you do not need to win every single day to become a consistently profitable trader. August, I took losses and a lot of them were avoidable, but I journaled them, and now this is my September performance. So I lost 27 on Monday, lost 3 on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday made 600, 280, 150. And then Monday was off. Tuesday I haven't imported this yet, but I made around 760, and then Wednesday I made 120. So on every winning day I made over $100, and on every losing day I did not lose more than 30. So again, you need to understand that losing days and even losing weeks are just part of the game. But if you can keep that risk small, then you will be in a very, very good spot. So overall, I think I've netted close to around 2K, and it's only been about a couple of days in September. So September has been very, very good. If the rest of September is like this, then hopefully I can net around maybe like 5 to 6 grand. But we'll see. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to show you the journal. It was just another psychological tip. You do not need to win every day. Does anybody have any more questions? If not, I'm probably gonna end the live stream in a minute or two. Apparently BBIG is taking off again. Nah, I don't see a setup on it right now. Okay, I'll just wait maybe like a minute or two more for questions, and then I'm probably gonna end the live stream. Again, today was not the best day to trade. I did make a small amount on Amazon, but Overall, just not a good day to trade in my opinion. I want to scan a few stocks? Yeah, I can go ahead and analyze a couple of stocks. Also, I'll definitely improve like the quality of the live stream and plan out things more. It's just that because of this Wi-Fi issue, I unfortunately had to do things on the fly. Okay, I'll go ahead and analyze a couple of stocks. I'm pretty sure most of them are just weak right now. Tesla, lower lows, weak. I think it's the same case for all. Oh, Shopify got killed. I was watching this breakout on Shopify, closer to like 1583, but now it's $100 away. Roku weak. Actually, Roku is holding value, but on a daily time frame it is weak, so not interested. Facebook weak. Facebook don't really see a clear level on it. Apple weak. Honestly, it's good that Apple is weak. Apple has been on an insane tear lately, so it's good that it's pulling back. Hopefully to this trend line. K-Web, I'm very mad I missed this. Don't know if we're gonna get the retest, but I was looking to go in with a pretty decent size equity position. I was thinking like maybe like 10 to 25 grand on this, just because on K-Web on a weekly time frame, we've held this trend line so well. So my thought process was that if we come back to this trend line, it's an equity position I would be looking to hold for maybe a couple years. We'll see. Still have time. This could just be a pullback for a move lower. Just scan through some other names. Boeing. Boeing is weaker on a higher time frame. Also weak intraday. So a lot of the stocks, the major common theme is the market is weak right now. However, we are in a clear uptrend. So the question to everybody who's trading right now is, why would you be trading when the entire market is weak? But in my opinion, you can't take short positions because at any point the market can reverse because we're in an uptrend. So to those revenge trading right now, I was in your shoes at one period of time a couple of months ago. You need to understand that the revenge trade you put on right now has a 99% chance of not working out. Yes, there's always a 1% chance that things could work out, but at that point you're gambling. You know, if you really want to be consistently profitable, you need to understand market conditions. Someone said take a look at NQ right now. So even right now, let me put it on the bigger screen. Even right now, it does appear that Q's is bouncing. You know, Q's failed low of day, now it's moving higher, but you know, it's still making higher lows. It's still weak. Wouldn't really consider a long position on it right now, despite a lot of volume coming in. If we do V-shape recover and other setups, then it looks good to the long side, but for now, I would stay away. Thank you, YouTube watch. What is stop loss strategy on key levels? I'll go over that. That allows you to lose so little. Okay. So the way my stop losses work is what I trade very selectively. So right off the bat, the trades I put on have a high probability chance of working out. Second of all, I will always wait for a 5-minute candle close before exiting. A perfect example of that is Amazon today. So I entered here, a lot of traders entered here. A lot of traders probably stopped out on this candle here, but my mentality is I need to wait for a 5-minute candle close. If we had a 5-minute candle close below this level, I would stop out for a loss. However, in this case, we did not have a 5-minute candle close below, and hence we moved higher. So that's the first part of my stop out strategy. My second part is when I do take my first scale out into profit, my next one will always be break even. You know, it's just a golden rule. I'm never going to let a green trade turn red on me, and that's why I do not take as many losing trades as I used to. How long did it take you to be consistent? I've been trading for about a year and a half now. Consistency probably developed a couple of months ago. Probably, I put a lot of effort into this. You know, I would stay up to like 4 or 5 a.m. just learning and just talking to other traders. For those taking it at a normal pace, I would say it would take 2 years to be consistent. For those super dedicated, you know, really willing to put like 6-7 hours of work on top of whatever schedule they have, because you know a lot of people have a full-time job. I go to college, so I'm pretty busy as well. But if you have the time to put 4 or 5 hours a day and you're very, very dedicated on the process, then maybe like 6 to 8 months. What is a contextual trader? So contextual trader is a trader who can just understand SPY and Qs, just candles and volume in general, and able to get a proper read on it. So contextual trader typically doesn't use. So I'll get to your question, Carlos, but a contextual trader is a trader who's able to just look at the candles and the volume and price imbalances and able to make the correct decisions. So a contextual trader would not use RSI or MACD or even VWAP. I don't even use VWAP anymore. I think it's noise. So it's just one who understands how the market is structured and just understands the battle between buyers and sellers. Because all this game is literally just buyers versus sellers and sellers versus buyers. Besides Carmine's course, what other material did I use to learn from? I read a lot of books. Books helped me a lot. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I followed a lot of traders on YouTube. That helped me a lot in addition to Carmine's course. A couple of really, really good ones are Matt Diamond. He's a specialist in scalping. He's been trading for over 5 years. He's a great trader. He's also very, very honest and real with the market. Another one is Jay Atwani. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's also a very, very good trader. Trades on the 1 minute. So just watching YouTubers and just watching recap videos is what helped me learn. To see if I'm connected to. Anyone have any other questions? Do I swing trade? No, I do not know how to swing trade at all. I'm purely a day trader. If I ever do take a position overnight, it's purely going to be from profits. And honestly, I do not play 50 to 100 contracts right now, so I say I play like 50 contracts and I won on 49, then yeah, I might hold one overnight just for fun to see what happens. But besides that, I do not swing trade at all. Looking forward to live trades. Yep. Thank you. I'm definitely looking to get into that. Yeah, I think that's how you spell his name, Jay Atwani. Okay, I'm probably gonna end the video here. I hope you guys do not force trades right now. Just because you have to understand market conditions. They are not favorable right now. And the last point I want to leave everyone is the market, as I said, will always move from balance to imbalance. So we are not going to have a 100-point rally on NQ every single day. It's just not possible. So if the market does rally that aggressively, there's going to be days where the market pulls back, and there's going to be days where the market is choppy. It's just how the market works. So you have to understand that not every day is going to be strong, and you need to learn to back off on days where the days just not favorable. So today, I only made 126. I was expecting a lot more. However, I'm not going to make 700, 800 bucks every day. It's just not possible. But yeah, that's the last point I wanted to say. I'm going to end the video here. Definitely getting into live trading hopefully next week, and I hope you guys take it easy. And I'll post the link of this live stream on my YouTube channel.